How did Mission Connection come about? It wasn't at night like a dream, but during the day, I began to get this picture. Now, I've got to say, I'm not necessarily given to visions and dreams. I believe in them. I believe that just like in the Bible, the Lord speaks to us in visions and dreams. The picture was just a group of people going up the side of Mount Hood, and somebody breaks away and goes to the other side, and everybody wants to be part of the uphill climb. But yet I see in this vision that somebody is breaking away from this climb, going away from what everybody else is doing and what they want to do. And I come to the downhill side of the mountain, like in a bivouac, in a cutout in the snow, and I'm surrounded by knapsacks. And on the knapsacks are names of countries where there are people that have not been reached for the gospel. And as these men come down, I'm, in a sense, deploying them. I'm giving them, hey, you need to go to the unreached of India. Here, you need to go to the unreached of Indonesia. I don't say anything to anybody about this vision, but all I know is the reason I'm at this church, my church, to do this missions ministry is for a much greater purpose that I'm not even sure of. And it seemed like everybody that I began to share the vision with was very interested and excited and said that will work. And so it's just like your testimony. The more you share it, the more you hear your words coming through your lips, the more it feels like the Lord is making it happen. And it's not happening, but you feel inside a confidence. And so I would feel confident after sharing. Well, then pretty soon I felt like, well, maybe I'll share with some of my friends that I've been in these mission pastors meetings with, and they were very excited. I mean, if this is of the Lord, then we need to pray.
I started getting involved with missions in late 2004, early 2005. So about 5 years after being on staff with this church, I was in a room with about 40 leaders in the Phoenix area, and these two guys were presenting about Mission Connection. And as I sat and listened to him, I was a little skeptical in my spirit because I thought, we don't need a missions conference in this area. But as they were talking, they were saying things like, we help put the local church in the driver's seat for the Great Commission. That piqued my interest. I basically said in this room, I think we need to consider this. Some of us maybe need to come up and check out the next Mission Connection that was happening here in Portland.
I heard about Mission Connection from Gina when, I don't know how you heard about it.
I think it was Facebook. A friend had posted about it.
I was surprised that it was free registration. And I had never heard of Mission Connection because kind of God had told us to focus on what we were doing in Sweet Home, Oregon. And so we kind of had intended to be missionaries, but we were, at that point in our life, really used to just focusing where God had put us.
And it was really interesting. I remember looking at each other because both of us were drawn to the getting ready to go tract. That was the moment that God used to propel us onto the mission field, was that conference. And then later the website, the Mission Next registration and getting connected to other organizations.
Everybody could enjoy and benefit from going to the Mission Connection. The reason why is because your mission vision is what drives where you go with your money, with your time, with your prayers. And the Lord said that where you give is where your heart will go.
I was at a pastor's conference, and at that conference, I met Bill McLeod. Bill had been praying for people like me to go into Central Asia. And interestingly, God had laid on my heart those countries. He said that when I answered, it was as if my hand went up, like standing at attention to say, here I am, I'm ready to go. That then became the beginning of a great relationship with Mission Connection, with People International, with myself and 2 other generations of young African Americans who have traveled into that part of the world. The Central Asian region is not an area where you see a lot of African Americans. And so there was a real opportunity in our connection to Jake and Mission Connection Southwest to learn from others who had walked that path. I found Mission Connection to be a powerful resource in preparing us for what God had assigned us to do.
"9/11 changed everything. All these things were not going to stop us. We needed a sense of urgency. And so when we got into this luncheon, and naturally Luis Palau got up, hit the ball out of the park as he always does, and he says, folks, we're here because we name the name of Christ. This group is here, Bill and his crew are here to help your churches retool your resources so that we can reach these people so that they can have the same relationship with the living Christ that we do." Boom, we were off. Everybody was excited, and we walked in to the launch of this, what then was called Missions Fest Northwest, 2 months later, almost to the day. And along the way, we merged with a parent organization called Mission Works, and now MissionConnexion is one of 5 ministries. It allows us to continue to still do MissionConnexion the way we've always done it, but now we bring a boatload of resources that churches can go online and get things, but that they can come and there's more resources available.
So my wife and I and a group of people went up there, and we got hosted by the MissionConnexion leadership. And even from the stage, it didn't feel like a presentation. It felt like I got invited to someone's Thanksgiving, and the theme was the world. I think a couple key components to bringing it to the Southwest was some friends and I who were mission pastors at local churches here decided to do a monthly gathering of mission pastors. Something started to happen in that space. One church would say, hey, we have this work in so-and-so country, and then another church would say, hey, we're in that country as well. And there started to become prayer for each other, relationship building, but also working together.
As we came back from Portland, we just started praying, and a number of us started just seeking the Lord, just saying, God, are you in this? We just sensed the Lord was in it. And so we proved that we can work together, and this particular leader said, we've shown that we have good relationships with each other, we can serve together. What if we went from serving together to sending? And when he said that, it was like a mic drop moment in the room. And so much of our efforts were kind of geared towards, let's help Phoenix to be a blessing to the ends of the earth. Let's help raise up long-term workers to say yes, go to some of these hard, restricted access countries.
I think MissionConnexion is a great place where you can bring your people in and they can hear the vision behind those things. And then as a local church, you can give them next steps and opportunities for them to step into. What I dream about is just the church continuing to look more and more like Jesus in every aspect of our life. Just really loving each other well, really loving the people that are here in our city well. I think that's the goal and the vision. So I think for me, MissionConnexion is important just because I do continue to need that vision cast over me of why God has a heart for this, why this is important. And it still gives me those relationships around me of people who've been doing this work before me that I can continue to lean on, pray with, ask questions so that I don't have to just figure out everything on my own.
We had been praying, show us where you want us to be, what you want us to do. And I went to every single booth practically. And as a nurse, everybody was like, oh, you could write your own ticket. Where do you want to go? I was really looking for something that followed those principles of, when helping hurts, using local resources, local people. In March, we went to basic training. In the late summer, we went to a 6-week internship in Kenya. And November 1st, we were official, missionaries with Medical Ambassadors International. It's been an amazing journey. Just because I'm done with raising my kids does not mean that I'm done living, and that God's not done with me yet.
One of the things that spoke to me was that I learned just walking around in the MissionConnexion environment was that anybody with any skill could be a missionary. And so I was a public school teacher, and Gina's a speech therapist. I didn't feel like I had to go back to Bible school to be able to go serve. And that was a message I felt really clearly was that anybody, no matter what your vocation, there's a place for you to serve the Lord.
But Mission Connection really helped me to understand that culture and the way that we operate in other countries based on how they operate is so important, and it ends up getting people to welcome you even more. I am asking for as many young people as I can to pray and ask God if they are to have a heart to go.
A lot of times when people show up to church on Sundays, they don't think God could use them for whatever reason. And we're simply saying, no, this Great Commission is for all of us, and we want you to be a part of it. We can't do this on our own strength. There is no way that we could muster up enough fancy speech, enough fancy videos, or enough fancy conferences to encourage people to move overseas on their own. We don't even want to try to do that. It's got to be led by the Spirit of God.
Where would we be if we didn't have all these people in all these areas? It's not just the volunteers that help out. It's also, the people that believe in us and they give financially. We want the event to be free. That's how the thing takes off. I used to say it's kind of like when you're stuck and you're trying to find the entrance to the freeway. You've ever been in that position? You see the freeway's right there. How do I get on it? Mission Connection is a vehicle, like a GPS system that will say, okay, you're here right now, and you want to get over here. We will help you. We don't have a one-size-fits-all. There's all kinds of ways. What could we do if we didn't care who got the credit? It's not for us. It's for the whole church. This is like a World's Fair. This is something that we want every single person in the church, doesn't matter how interested they are in missions. We want them to be part of this because, why? Because the Great Commission, Jesus' last challenge, go. It's amazing. He brings the people to us. He brings the resources to us. With vision, people will do the impossible.